Here are the 10 most beautiful places in the world. Number 10. Kawah Ijen, Indonesia. The Ijen volcano complex is a group of composite volcanoes located on the border between Banyuwangi Regency and Bondowoso Regency of East Java, Indonesia. It is known for its blue fire acidic crater lake and labor-intensive sulfur mining. It is inside an eponymous larger caldera Ijen, which is about 20 kilometers wide. The Gunung Merapi stratovolcano is the highest point of that complex. The name Gunung Merapi means mountain of fire in the Indonesian language. Mount Merapi in central Java and Merapi in Sumatra have the same etymology. West of Gunung Merapi is the Ijen volcano, which has a 1 kilometer wide turquoise-colored acidic crater lake. The lake is the site of a labor-intensive sulfur mining operation in which sulfur-laden baskets are carried by hand from the crater floor. Workers earn around $13 per day, and once out of the crater still need to carry their loads of sulfur chunks about 3 kilometers to the nearby Kaltading Valley to get paid. The lake is recognized as the largest highly acidic crater lake in the world. It is also a source for the river Banyupahit, resulting in highly acidic and metal-enriched river water, which has a significant detrimental effect on the downstream river ecosystem. During a scientific expedition in 2001, the pH of the lake was measured at less than 0.3. On the 14th and 15th of July, 2008, explorer George Karounis took a small rubber boat out onto the acid lake to measure its acidity. The pH of the water at the lake's edges was measured to be 0.5 and in the middle of the lake 0.13 due to a high concentration of sulfuric acid. Number 9. The Ringing Rocks. Ringing rocks, also known as sonorous rocks or lithophonic rocks, are rocks that resonate like a bell when struck. Examples include the musical stones of Skiddaw in the English Lake District, the stones in Ringing Rocks Park in Upper Black Eddy, Bucks County, Pennsylvania, the Ringing Rocks of Kiandra, New South Wales, and the Bell Rock Range of Western Australia. Ringing rocks are used in adiaphonic musical instruments called lithophones. Several early scientists became interested in the ringing rocks. However, none were able to formulate a credible theory on the ringing ability of the rocks or the formation of the boulder fields. Edgar T. Wherry, 1885–1982, mineralogist and botanist, became interested in the ringing rocks while teaching at Lehigh University. Wherry theorized that the ringing was due to the texture of the diabase rocks and that they were supported by other rocks. He identified the boulder fields as a type of Felsenmeer. At the 13th annual meeting of the Bucks Historical Society in June 1900, Charles Laubach, a noted local geologist and naturalist, described the geology of the diabase trap sills with reference to sites such as Bridgeton, Stony Garden, and others. Benjamin Franklin Furkenthal, 1851–1941, local industrialist and trustee of Franklin and Marshall College, became interested with the ringing rocks. Although not a professional geologist, Furkenthal made extensive observations on all of the boulder fields. In 1965, geologist Richard Farce of Lafayette College took a few of the rocks back to his lab for testing. He found that when the rocks were struck, they created a series of tones at frequencies lower than the human ear can hear. An audible sound is only produced because these tones interact with each other. Although Farce's experiments explained the nature of the tones, they did not identify the specific physical mechanism in the rock which made them. Although there have been over a dozen diabase ringing rock boulder fields identified in the Pennsylvania and New Jersey area, the majority are either on private property or have been obliterated by urban development. There are 3 sites north of Philadelphia which are readily accessible to the public: Ringing Rocks County Park, Stony Garden, and Ringing Hill Park. Number 8. Grüner See. Grüner See, Green Lake, is a lake in Styria, Austria in a village named Tragus, which is part of the municipality Tragus Sankt Catherine. The lake is surrounded by forests and 3 mountains. There's Pribitz, that's 1,579 meters, Messnerin, that's 1,835 meters, and also Trenchtling, 2,081 meters, all part of the Hochschwab Mountains. The name Green Lake originated because of its emerald green water. The clean and clear water comes from the snowmelt from the Karst Mountains and has a temperature of 6-7 degrees Celsius. During winter, the lake is only 1 to 2 meters deep and the surrounding area is used as a county park. However, in spring when the temperature rises and snow melts, the basin of land below the mountains fills with water. The lake reaches its maximum depth of around 12 meters from mid-May to June and is claimed to look the most beautiful at this time. In July the water begins to recede. The lake supports a variety of fauna such as snails, water fleas, small crabs, fly larvae, and different species of trout. The flora is not abundant because of the rocky bottom of the lake. Furthermore, the lake's depth is variable since its inflow comes from snowmelt. The lake was popular among divers who could observe the green meadows in the edge zone of the lake, particularly in June when the water is at its highest. A bridge and a bench could also be found underwater. Furthermore, trails and trees could also be seen underwater. Because of the spike in tourist visits that has occurred and expected damage to this sensitive environment, the use of this lake for all water sports activities has been prohibited since 2016, the 1st of January. Number 7. The Boiling River. The Shanate-Impishka, also known as La Bomba, is a tributary of the Amazon River called the only boiling river in the world. It is 6.4 kilometers long. It is known for the very high temperature of its waters from 45 degrees Celsius to nearly 100 degrees Celsius. The name Shanate-Impishka means boiled by the heat of the sun, from Shane, heat of the sun, and Timpu, the verb, to boil, though the source of the heat is actually geothermal. The river is located in the Mayanchuaku Sanctuary, part of the Hanuko High Forest. The area is inhabited by an Ashaninka community. Local shamans believe that the boiling water is birthed by Yakumama, a giant serpent spirit known as the Mother of the Waters. Andres Russo, a geothermal scientist, has investigated the source of the heat. He initially learned of it as a child from his grandfather. The river maintains its high temperature despite not being near any known active volcanoes or geothermal vents which normally provide geothermal heating for groundwater. Despite its unique nature, National Geographic has described it as an entirely natural feature, a non-volcanic geothermal feature flowing at anomalously high rates. The predominant theory for the source of this heat is from the geothermal gradient of the Earth. Being closer to the Earth's mantle, underground water tends to be of a higher temperature than surface water. The theory is that rainwater falls onto the surface of the Amazon rainforest and finds deep-rooted faults where it travels down into the crust. The water is thus heated in accordance with the geothermal gradient. It is then likely fed to the surface of the Earth through fault-fed hot springs that act to heat up the river along its stretch. The area faces threats from deforestation. According to National Geographic, up to 99% of this is the result of local indigenous populations selling the higher value lumber from larger trees, then clear burning the rest. The only section of pristine jungle remaining is the concession granted to Maple Energy, a local oil and gas company which complies with environmental regulations under penalty of fines. Number 6. Nazca Lines. The Nazca Lines are a group of geoglyphs made in the soil of the Nazca Desert in southern Peru. They were created between 500 BC and 500 AD by people making depressions or shallow incisions in the desert floor, removing pebbles and leaving different colored dirt exposed. There are two major phases of the Nazca Lines. Pericus phase from 400 to 200 BC and Nazca phase from 200 BC to 500 AD. In the years leading up to 2020, between 80 and 100 new figures had been found with the use of drones, and archaeologists believe that there are more to be found. Most lines run straight across the landscape, but there are also figurative designs of animals and plants. The combined length of all the lines is more than 1,300 kilometers, and the group covers an area of about 50 square kilometers. The lines are typically 10 to 15 centimeters deep. They were made by removing the top layer of reddish-brown ferric oxide-coated pebbles to reveal a yellow-gray subsoil. The width of the lines varies considerably, but more than half are slightly more than 33 centimeters wide. In some places they may be only 30 centimeters wide, and in others reach 1.8 meters wide. Some of the Nazca Lines form shapes that are best seen from the air at around 500 meters, although they are also visible from the surrounding foothills and other high places. The shapes are usually made from one continuous line. The largest ones are about 370 meters long. Because of its isolation and the dry, windless, stable climate of the plateau, the lines have mostly been preserved naturally. Extremely rare changes in weather may temporarily alter the general designs. As of 2012, the lines are said to have been deteriorating because of an influx of squatters inhabiting the lands. The figures vary in complexity. Hundreds are simple lines and geometric shapes. More than 70 are zoomorphic designs, including a hummingbird, arachnid, fish, condor, heron, monkey, lizard, dog, cat, and a human. Other shapes include trees and flowers. Scholars differ in interpreting the purpose of the designs, but in general, they ascribe religious significance to them. They were designated in 1994 as a UNESCO World Heritage Site. Number 5. Crooked Forest. The Crooked Forest is a grove of oddly shaped pine trees located in the village of Nauzarnao near the town of Gryfino, West Pomerania, in northwestern Poland. It is a protected natural monument of Poland. This grove of 400 pines was planted in around 1930. Each pine tree bends sharply to the north, just above ground level, then curves back upright after a sideways excursion of 1 to 3 meters. The curved pines are enclosed by a surrounding forest of straight pine trees. It is generally believed that some form of human tool or technique was used to make the trees grow or bend this way, but the method has never been determined and remains a mystery to this day. It has been speculated that the trees may have been deformed to create naturally curved timber for use in furniture or boat building. Others surmise that a snowstorm could have bent the trunks, but there is little evidence of that. The site is open to the public and is a tourist attraction in the region. Number 4. The Hessdalen Lights. The Hessdalen Lights are unidentified lights which have been observed in a 12-kilometer-long stretch of the Hessdalen Valley in rural central Norway periodically since at least the 1930s. The Hessdalen Lights appear both by day and by night and seem to float through and above the valley. They are usually bright white, yellow or red and can appear above and below the horizon. The duration of the phenomenon may be a few seconds to well over an hour. Sometimes the lights move with enormous speed. At other times they seem to sway slowly back and forth. On yet other occasions, they hover in mid-air. Unusual lights have been reported in the region since at least the 1930s. Especially high activity occurred between December 1981 and mid-1984, during which the lights were observed 15 to 20 times per week, attracting many overnight tourists. As of 2010, the number of observations had dwindled with only 10 to 20 sightings yearly. Since 1983, Project Hessdalen, initiated by UFO Norge and UFO Sverige, have attempted to investigate the lights. This project was active as field investigations during 1983 to 1985. A group of students, engineers, and journalists collaborated as the Triangle Project in 1997 to 1998 and recorded the lights in a pyramid shape that bounced up and down. In 1998, the Hessdalen Automatic Measurement Station Hessdalen AMS was set up in the valley to register and record the appearance of lights. Later, a program named EMBLA was initiated to bring together established scientists and students to researching the lights. Leading research institutions are Østfold University College in Norway and the Italian National Research Council. Number 3. Movile Cave. Movile Cave is a cave near Mangalia, Constanta County, Romania. Discovered in 1986 by Cristian Lascu a few kilometers from the Black Sea coast. It is notable for its unique groundwater ecosystem abundant in hydrogen sulfide and carbon dioxide but low in oxygen. Life in the cave has been separated from the outside for the past 5.5 million years, and it is based completely on chemosynthesis rather than photosynthesis. Similar caves where life partly or fully depends on chemosynthesis have been found in Oin-Nur Cave and Aylan Cave in Israel, Frasassi Caves in Italy, Melisotripa Cave in Elisona Municipality, Greece, Tashan Cave in Iran. Caves in the Shero-Argan Valley in the Caucasus Mountains, Lower Cane Cave and Cesspool Cave in Wyoming and Allegheny County, USA, and Villa Luz Cave in Mexico. Movile Cave is a network of paths in limestone that are approximately 200 meters long, with portions that are partially or fully submerged by hydrothermal waters. The temperature of the air and water is a constant 21 degrees Celsius and the relative humidity is about 100%. Access to the cave is limited to a few researchers per year to minimize external impact on the delicate ecosystem. Number 2. The Petrifying Well. A petrifying well is a well or other body of water which gives objects a stone-like appearance. If an object is placed into such a well and left there for a period of months or years, the object acquires a stony exterior. At one time this property was believed to be a result of magic or witchcraft, but it is an entirely natural phenomenon and due to a process of evaporation and deposition in waters with an unusually high mineral content. This process of petrifying is not to be confused with petrification, wherein the constituent molecules of the original object are replaced, and not merely overlaid, with molecules of stone or mineral. Notable examples of petrifying wells in England are the spring at Mother Shipton's Cave in Knaresborough and Matlock Bath in Derbyshire. In Ireland such wells were noted by John Rutty on Howth Head among other locations. And number 1. The Doubletree. The Bialbero di Casorzo, in English Doubletree of Casorzo, is situated between Grana and Casorzo in Piedmont, Italy. It is a mulberry tree on which a cherry tree grows. The cherry tree rises well above the mulberry tree on which it stands. Epiphytical growing trees are not unusual, but they normally reach a small size and have a short lifespan as there is normally not enough humus and space available where they grow. Large epiphytes like this one require that the upper tree have a root connection to the ground, for example by growing down through a hollow trunk.